Taking a break from fighting cancer, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin publicly humiliated the Republican Party on their poor economic record. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Here at Pondering Politics, like every good, God-fearing American, we love Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin, and we wish him all the best because right now he's fighting cancer. That's why in his most recent appearances, he's wearing a bandana because the chemotherapy is causing him to lose his hair. And yet he shows up and works on behalf of the American people. He is basically the living fact checker and like this force of nature, constantly just rebutting and refuting every ridiculous Republican claim or, soundbite in any hearing that he's in. He's constantly like, Democrats are lending him their time so he can like fact check Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, James Comer, Jim Jordan, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. He's almost like an octopus, just like so many arms, just like smacking down Republicans left, right, and center for their ridiculous claims. And recently, Republicans have introduced in the House of Representatives legislation which would essentially rescind President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which, by the by, also included provisions that would cap insulin for Medicare recipients who needed it, right? So it would essentially, once again, raise the price of insulin, which is killing many Americans who can't afford it, right? It's very cruel, it's inappropriate, but anything for a political win, anything to undermine any of President Biden's many, many, many hard-won, hard-fought legislative successes. And when he took to the podium on the floor of the House of Representatives, Jamie Raskin decided to just, again, bring the receipts and tell the Republican Party about themselves, particularly with respect to their economic record. Again, the perception is, it's simply true. The perception is, for most people, that the Republican Party is the party of economic prosperity and fiscal responsibility. That is the perception. I remember growing up, even from people who were socially progressive or socially liberal, they would say things like, I'm socially liberal but fiscally conservative, right? Because it's just been ingrained into us that the Republican Party is the one that you want balancing the nation's checkbooks. Now, the irony, of course, is that the Republican Party actually sucks at that, especially the modern Republican Party. Donald Trump, he contributed about $8 trillion with a TR, trillion, dollars to the national debt in 4 years. It was like the single biggest contribution in the history of the United States. For the past, I think, 10 out of 11 recessions that were hit by the United States, those recessions began in a Republican presidency, right? So Republicans, when they leave office, they hand a recession to the next guy. We saw it under Trump handing a recession to President Biden. We saw President Bush hand a recession to President Obama, and just so on and so forth. It's happened. President Reagan left one for President H.W. Bush, who left one for President Clinton. It just happens. 10 out of the last 11. And we've talked about it. We've done multiple videos about it. I'm sure we'll do multiple videos again to try we're going to try every combination of words possible to persuade people of the fact that Republicans suck on the economy. They're just really good at convincing people that they're not. And Jamie Raskin brings some good energy and some good facts to the table, and we need more energy like this. So I want to play the clip, and we'll talk about what he has to say.
2020, inflation has risen worldwide, exacerbated by supply chain delays caused by the pandemic, and then Vladimir Putin's filthy war of aggression in Ukraine, which some of our friends over there support. President Biden has created something like an economic miracle out of the chaos handed to him by Donald Trump. After signing his massive tax giveaway, Trump's failed state dysfunctional response to COVID plunged America into its most severe economic contraction since 1946. Someone dispute that. The unemployment rate rose to 14.8% under Donald Trump, the highest on record since the Bureau of Labor Statistics began collecting data in 1948. And in 2021, Biden and the Democrats got to work. We passed the American Rescue Plan, which fueled a strong, equitable economic recovery with historic reductions in unemployment, in poverty, and economic hardship. Real GDP increased by 5.7%. The unemployment rate decreased to 4%, surpassing all forecasts. Wages increased by 5%, with the highest increases going to lower economic income earners. So Democratic policies have allowed the U.S. to absorb the shock of rising inflation engulfing the globe since 2020. That's serious economic policy, what President Biden and the Democrats are engaged in, and they have a silly little symbolic messaging bill for a couple of notations they didn't even want to publish originally within the process of offering executive orders.
So yeah, that was a great rebuttal of the notion that the Republican Party, and again, the modern Republican Party, and certainly the most modern iteration of the Republican Party under Donald Trump, that they have any economic record to speak of. Look, inflation is real. It's hurting people. There's no doubt about it. Gas prices have been really high. Now they have declined steadily over time. That's also true. And President Biden has done everything in his power to combat inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act, trying to use the bully pulpit of the presidency to convince these multi-billion-dollar companies, especially in the oil and gas industry, to stop hoarding record profits and reinvesting them for stock buybacks and shareholder payouts and things like that. But the president isn't God, and Democrats, even when they've had congressional majorities, had to fight tooth and nail every step of the way from a bad faith Republican opposition, who are much more interested in hurting Democrats and President Biden than they are in helping their own constituents. And that's why, like right now, we're still in the middle of a debt ceiling crisis, because Republicans will not agree yet to raise the debt ceiling, even though they did it 4 times under Donald Trump. They've done it like 60 times or 50 times in the past 60 years, which is nearly twice as many times as under Democratic presidents. So no matter how you slice it, real GDP growth is higher under Democrats. Job growth is higher under Democrats. Annualized stock market performance higher under Democrats. Real wage growth higher under Democrats. Every economic metric that you can speak of, either for the past 35 years or in some cases like real GDP, the past 60 years, they do better under Democrats. Democrats are better stewards of the economy. And it's also true that, as is often the case, that Republicans, like Donald Trump, left Joe Biden a mess economically. And you heard Raskin, talk about this, so I won't, regurgitate it. But this is the sort of energy, and these are the sort of facts that Democrats have to constantly talk about. They should be constantly talking about that. That's not to say that, the economy is perfect or that Democrats have an obligation to stop. I mean, no, they need to continue to do more, press more, and try to bring more relief to the American public. But we can talk about the things that we accomplished. We can talk about the things that we accomplished over the opposition of a bad faith Republican Party. Facts don't speak for themselves, okay? And as long as the Democratic Party is silent or muted or hesitant to boast about their economic achievements, the longer the perception will persist that Republicans are good for the economy, even though, again, as this proves, they're factually not. Hey, you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.